Should you consider opening a Preservin franchise in Norman, Oklahoma? Welcome to our first ever live available territory deep dive. Hey, I'm Ty, founder of Preservin, and today we're going to be talking about Norman, Oklahoma, a really great franchise opportunity available. And first, let's just cover what Preservin's all about. Let's cover what we do briefly. Preservin is a wood rot repair company that repairs wood rather than replacing it using a proprietary epoxy repair system. And when we do this, we are 90% less than replacement and can get most of our projects done in as little as 24 hours. This makes us better for the consumer, our neighbors, better for the planet because we're not throwing things away, and better for the franchisee because it's an efficient and affordable and sustainable and convenient repair for their community. And we go over what we're going to talk about today in this brief webinar. We're going to be talking about wood deterioration in the U.S. What does that look like, and how does it specifically impact the climate of Norman, Oklahoma? We're going to be talking about the territory. What is actually the territory of Norman? What does it include, and what are some of the demographics that make Norman a really great territory? Then we're going to be talking about common areas of repair. What types of areas can you expect to be repairing if you're a franchise owner there in Norman? And last, we're going to be looking at some ideal inventory from Zillow and the things that can be repaired there, and what those repair items might look like. So let's dive in here and let's get started. So here we go. Wood deterioration in the United States. This has been studied quite a bit. And we can look back over history, and the American Wood Protection Association has determined that there are 5 deterioration zones, beginning with low, and think the Mountain West, Arizona, New Mexico. Those areas are low, but they still have a lot of wood rot, but they're low on the wood rot scale and deterioration. That includes termites and stuff. And then it goes all the way to severe. Think the Gulf Coast and some of the southern part of the Atlantic. And then you have all of the areas in between. And where does Norman fall at on this deterioration map? It falls in the moderate zone, zone 3. Now, I know this area really, really well. Why do I know this area really well? Was because Oklahoma City, our prototype location, our corporate location, is actually adjacent to, connected to, part of the same metro area as Norman, Oklahoma. So I know the area well, and we've actually developed this concept here inside of a Zone 3 territory. And here's a look at that territory, specific look at that territory. It's not just Norman, but Norman's one of the key places. Norman's got a lot of really great historic neighborhoods and historic structures. Of course, you have the University of Oklahoma there, but I'm going to click on this link. Now, this is from Vision, and we utilized Vision as a mapping software. And to do this, when we utilized Vision, we were able to create a territory that mapped our prototype location as best as possible. And so that looks like, for this territory, for Zone 3, that's 200,000 households, and those households are Norman, yes, but they also include Moore, Tuttle, Noble, and parts of Harrah, Choctaw, and Spencer. So it's a really great area, a lot of really great opportunity there. Let's see. We can look at when we use Vision, and this is my first ever live, so you guys have to be patient with me. I'm going to actually add another screen here. So boom, there we go. Now here we go. Now we're really diving into it. Now we can really look at the territory. here we can look at the demographics, the household income of that area and what types of household incomes. So this is looking at like those really key of our neighbors that are going to be most likely to spend for home repairs and wood rot repairs. Over 60,000, but I really like to look at is those income levels over 100,000. So between 100 to 125,000, we've got almost 20,000 households. 125 to 149, we've got just over 11,000 households. 150, 199, 10,000, and then 200,000 and above, we've got 8,300. So that makes that a really, really great territory, really diverse territory to serve. And what's really cool is when you're looking at this franchise as one of our franchise candidates, we share this map with you so you can really kind of drill in and look at this. You can look at the zip codes and you can really hone this in. We also will utilize this later on when we actually launch a territory, because it helps us really focus in on those absolute best neighborhoods to get us the highest results of our ad dollars and our digital ads and our direct mail. And so here's a look at that territory. Really great, really large, 200,000 households, perfect for a franchise opportunity. And I'm going to switch back here to my other screen, and I'll get better at this in the future, right? But here we go. Let's go back to this one. Now, what types of things would you repair in Norman or in any location? Well, of course, we said we repair wood rot. And our method for repairing wood rot is a multi resin epoxy system. And so the first part of it is, and you look at this log cabin type thing, we go in and we remove all of the deteriorating wood and we inject that wood with a very viscous epoxy. And then we come back in with an epoxy clay, and I've got a little sample of it here. But we come back in with this epoxy clay and we rebuild and reform. And then after that stuff is cured, we come back in, sand it, mold it, form it, and we can recreate almost anything. We can recreate logs. We can recreate garage door jambs. This is a very common repair that happens on almost every house with a garage door. We can do wood windows. Wood windows and wood doors are one of our absolute most needed items. This is one of my favorites because it shows an example of that real estate agents and home inspectors make really great neighbors for us, referral sources for us. And so those are the types of things we repair. But when you look at Norman, let's dive in specifically to the areas in Norman that we can be repairing. So what I always like to look at when I'm looking at this is our ideal neighbor, our ideal customer. Where do they live? They live on lakes, gates, and golf courses and historic preservation districts. And so when we're looking at our ideal for this market, there's a ton of houses and we could really blow this map up. But what we want to look at is the areas that would be most ideal. And so I'm going to pull up the actual Zillow here. Let me get to that screen real quick. Boom. There we go. So I just kind of like drew a line with Zillow so we could zoom in and look at the territories that are available in Norman, or not the territories, the inventory available in Norman. And we can start to just scroll through here. And I'm going to show you some of the types of houses that it's common for us to work on. In Oklahoma, we have a lot of brick structures. So that's something that people ask me a lot of times is, my area, maybe it has a lot of stucco. It has a lot of brick. Oklahoma, there's a lot of red clay. We use a lot of brick. So people might wonder, like, what am I going to repair if all the houses are brick? Well, here's the thing about, a brick house. A lot of brick houses are going to be utilizing wood trim and wood features, like wood windows, wood doors, wood cornice. That's the part of the roof, the overhang, the soffit, the fascia, and the brick mold. That's all a part of the cornice. Generally speaking, all of this is going to be wood. And if it's wood, it's rotting. Because what does it take for wood to rot? It takes moisture and heat. And Oklahoma, though we do get a little bit of winter, it actually stays above freezing most of the year, and we have moisture throughout the year. So that wood is always a food source for the fungus in the air that creates rot and the environment that will create termite damage. And so, like looking at this house right here, there are lots of places that a franchisee could potentially have technicians repairing. You can see the wood trim there in the windows. Of course, that's a wood door. Wood shutters, man, wood shutters rot all the time. And those can be really great things to repair. The other thing, as I showed earlier in that picture, garage doors or garage door jams. And here's a cool thing about garage door jams. Most garage door companies will replace the garage door, they'll repair the garage door, but they don't work on the jam. That's a great opportunity for a Preserve and franchise to build a partnership with the garage door company, so they're getting those referrals. And when I selected these houses, of course, our ideal homeowner or home was built right now that usually 15 years old or older makes a really great home for us. You know, construction materials right now are actually only built to last. There's a whole report on this, 10 to 15 years. And so that's kind of when we know our services are going to be needed if they used a wood product, is that within 10 to 15 years, that's going to start to deteriorate. That's going to force people into repairs or a replacement cycle. And we step in and give them an alternative to that, and a much more affordable alternative. Look at this. This has got some board and batten siding on it, some decorative, like corbels and posts and things up there. All of this stuff is likely to rot. Let's see if we can scroll down here and look at some other houses. Here's a house that's a little bit older, and my guess this is in Brookhaven. Brookhaven is an amazing neighborhood in Norman. It's not a historic neighborhood. It was, I think, developed in the 60s and 70s and built throughout the 80s and even into the 90s. And it's got this great housing inventory, great architectural details, but there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of areas that rot. And you look at this house, this has kind of got one of those Granville style roofs, those barn style roofs, and you've got the gables that got wood features on them. You've got the windows and doors. I mean, you know, we can look through literally hundreds and hundreds of houses, and we're gonna see roughly the same thing. Now, here's a really great one, and I'm actually familiar with this neighborhood, very popular neighborhood in Norman, but I see some big wood doors. You know, it's important to understand when you're thinking about the franchise opportunity and like, why would anybody just repair it? Why wouldn't they replace it? Well, if you look at that wood door, that's the front wood door there. You know, according to Remodel Magazine, they estimate just on an average that a grand entry front door made out of wood or fiberglass is about $12,000. Now, that's on an average. This door is definitely an above average door. It's a double door. It's got an arch on top. So the replacement of this door is going to be in excess of $12,000. So when they get connected with a Preserve and franchise owner and they show them the option to replace it and not, or to repair it, and not just this door, but, you know, multiple doors around the property, they're going to be really excited that they're getting a lot more fixed for a lot less money. Let's see what other kinds of houses we can see here in Norman. Let me scroll through here. You know, Norman has just some really, really awesome housing inventory. You could scroll through literally for days, and it's not always big, elegant homes, big, huge, McMansions and historic properties. Sometimes it's just a simple ranch that's got a lot of wood features on it, wood columns. Once again, the wood shutters, very popular, wood siding, and all it takes, like I said, is water. One of the things that we find where it's a great opportunity for us is neighborhoods where people have irrigation systems or sprinkler systems. Those sprinklers typically over time get pointed the wrong direction. They start watering a window or a door or something on the house, and that creates an opportunity for rot. So that's another area where we come in. Now, here's a house that's quite a bit older. This might even be in one of Norman's historic preservation districts. Norman has several historic preservation districts, and they have a historic preservation commission. And I think that's probably one of the last things that I will talk about before we end this is that You know, we can work on really anything. Houses start to rot after the first 15 years, but historic preservation is one of those places where we uniquely shine. If you have a house that's historically protected, there are very likely some regulations and some limitations on how you can repair or replace that item on your home. So you take a historic wood window or wood door. You can't just replace it with whatever you find at Home Depot or Lowe's. Typically, especially in Norman, you've got to get that design, you've got to take it in front of the commission, and the commission is going to approve that replacement as it relates to the historic nature of that community. Is it going to contribute to the value or deter from their historic value? And that is where Preservin really comes in and provides a unique solution. Our epoxy repair method has been approved by the National Park Service. It's been highly researched for the last 50 years, and it's even been used on some really great historic landmarks like Monticello, Mount Vernon, and even the Statue of Liberty. So it's a really proven method that is not only going to save someone money and be significantly more convenient, but it's also going to last a lifetime. This epoxy stuff really is designed in a sense to last forever. And so that's one of the really great things about an epoxy repair. We actually guarantee our repairs for 10 years. So there you go, Norman, Oklahoma. Great territory, great opportunity for a franchisee. If this was something that you're interested in, you're going to be really close to home base here. Our location just west of downtown OKC. If you want to learn more about Preservin's franchise opportunity, about our franchise business, about wood rot repair, here's my contact information. You can go to gopreservin.com. I don't know why it did that, but you could go to gopreservin.com and submit a form, or you could just email me here at ty@preservin.com. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for the first ever live territory deep dive. I hope to see you on the next one. And remember, we save the future by preserving the past. Later, everyone.